Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rick Smooth. I am here with Alan Fenstermaker for another episode of Back on the Road. And I just want to talk about what I saw on Friday Night SmackDown. I got to be 100% honest in this podcast. I thought the show wasn't that good. I think that with what's been going on with SmackDown, WWE right now is very lucky that they have Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, because if they didn't have that going on right now, I don't know what would be going on with SmackDown. Alan, I got a question for you, man. So, with Eric Bischoff now being out of the picture and Bruce Pritchard now taking over, what would you like to see on SmackDown?
On SmackDown, dude, I just kind of like to see the Attitude Era come back. That would be pretty cool. I know, for example, Paul Heyman is killing it on Raw, and in fact, even goes before Paul Heyman took over. It seemed like Raw was always my favorite show, anyways. I know, I never really got into SmackDown. It was always Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw was always the premier brand that I would always choose over SmackDown. SmackDown was always like the second best. I would say.
I agree with you on that. Monday Night Raw has always been the staple with the WWE, the longest running show on TV. But so I watched that old movie today, A League of Their Own, from 1992 with Tom Hanks, Gina Davis, and all them, Madonna, and it reminded me actually of what's going on with the WWE with the women's division, and it kind of made me actually proud to be a fan of WWE and women's wrestling in general, because after watching a movie like that, it's got a lot of emotion, it's got a lot of heart and soul, and really what that movie has, it's something similar to what Charlotte Flair's doing, which is you got to have heart for the game, whether it's wrestling. In that movie, it was pro baseball. So seeing how cats really can put that emotion and put that heart and soul into their work, whether it's dependent on the athletics of the sport. You gotta have heart for the game. You know what I mean? And it made me really proud to be a WWE fan. It reminded me a lot of actually what's been going on.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I know the women's revolution is huge in WWE, and not only that, but you got in the other. In the independents and all, you got MLW with Selena De La Renta, she's killing it, and then you got Tessa Blanchard in Impact Wrestling. So yeah, women's wrestling is huge.
Yeah, and something about Tessa's big enough where she could really kick some ass and really fuck some shit up. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool seeing how the women are stepping it up in a big way. I hope to continue to see that, and I hope that what happens with it all is, this is not, this is not going back on anything I just said, but I hope that it balances itself out, because I think that the women's wrestling are dominating right now, which is fine, but I think that, being a wrestling fan, being somebody who grew up around this stuff, I really do want to see some guys get in there and just kick some fucking ass, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly though, I remember seeing this on Facebook not that long ago too. Tessa Blanchard being compared to China, which I can honestly see that, because Tessa Blanchard is a strong woman, as is China. China was a pioneer in women's wrestling before the whole women's evolution took off, and so honestly, if you ask me, China started the women's revolution by being the first ever female intercontinental champion by beating Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, I agree, and there are some similarities between Tessa and China. I'm going to just go off the record and say this, I think Tessa is a super fine woman, so don't take any of that stuff the wrong way, Tessa, if anybody says this or that, but I'm saying that as in, I can see, the powerhouse in her, and that's a good thing. I want to talk a little bit about AEW's show last week. I know that Cody's been getting all kinds of props about his promos. I got to be honest, man. AEW needs to get some bigger names if they're going to compete with these guys, because WWE right now is building up a new era of big names. People like Bray Wyatt, you know what I mean? And who else, man? Who else would you say is a big namer that's in the WWE?
I'd say Seth Rollins.
Definitely Brock, you know?
Becky Lynch. Yeah, actually, that's another thing with the women's revolution, too. Becky Lynch is on fire. Like, she's had the Raw Women's Championship ever since WrestleMania when she beat Ronda Rousey.
Yeah. You know, Brock's definitely a name. You know, and I got to be honest about Brock. I was not a fan of Brock for a very long time. And slowly but surely, I now kind of see what they're doing with him. And you know, you can't take anything away from the guy. I mean, the guy's won the belt a million times. But you know, seeing him kind of get over on Rey Mysterio's kid the way he did, I think that kind of made me actually kind of respect and like what they're doing with him. And I like how he can just pick somebody up and just throw him, you know, off the wall or throw him through a table or, you know, you got to have these kinds of powerhouses in wrestling. And that's the other thing I want to talk about, all right? I've been trying to wrap my head around this stuff for a long time. What's missing in pro wrestling? What's this? What's that? We need bigger guys. We need guys that are, you know, bodybuilder types, you know, ugly-ass motherfuckers who look like that, you know, you don't want to run into, you know, at a bar or in a back alley. And, you know, we need to see some guys who just get into the ring and they don't do this whole fucking, you know, we're playing, you know, like we just got off the playground thing. And I'm not dissing nobody. I'm just saying that's not pro wrestling. When people like Brian Pillman Sr. would get into the ring, they'd get in there and they would fight. You know what I mean? And they would make that shit look right. People like Rick Rude, they knew how to get in there and just, you know, it went from being playing around to serious real quick. You know what I mean? And this whole playground thing and all these high spots and shit, all this stuff is not helping the business. And it's not helping the product. And it's not impressing the fans. So, last thing I'll say real quick about WWE is, yo, these guys that are cutting these heel promos are all cutting the same promo. Every single one of them is cutting the same promo, and they do this whole weird, like, trying to be full of themselves stuff that's just not convincing, man. When you had guys back in the day going for it, these guys would make everybody in the place love to hate them. And that's what a good heel does. We need more of that in pro wrestling.
Yeah, like Triple H, he was an awesome heel, too. Like, he got the fans to love to hate him, and, and then who else was a good heel? Ric Flair. Yeah, like Ric Flair is a good heel.
Yeah, Ric Flair's a great heel. And then you got guys like Rick Rude and Kurt Hennig. See, Kurt Hennig, that's the thing is, he would do the full of himself thing, but he would back it up in a way where it was believable. It wasn't just some dude who's probably watched wrestling his whole life, who just gets up there and just says some stuff just to say it. Nah, man, these guys knew the art of making the crowd love to hate them. And I'm so sick and tired of watching the guys that just can't work the mic. If you can't work the mic, just put down the mic and just wrestle.
Actually, like another good heel too, like he's in the independent circuit. Now, Rob Noxious is an amazing heel. Like, I know, wouldn't you say Rob Noxious is a good heel?
Look, this is what I'll say about Rob Noxious, all right? Rob Noxious is one of the coolest guys in the wrestling biz, and when he turns on the heel thing, it's like that fucking, what is it, Dr. Jekyll shit? He turns it on, and it's so believable. I don't know what he's doing that's different from what everybody else is doing, but I do know what it is, and it's the believable aspect of it. He knows how to get into that dark place and throw it the fuck down. So, I mean, I think everybody that's out there, if they want to know how to be a good heel, watch Rob Noxious as a heel.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's a good trainer, too, and, like, I definitely could learn a lot from him, because he's been around the business, and you don't call him the king of hardcore for no reason.
You know who's also pretty good heels is the Pony Express. I like how they do it. They can do the heel or the face thing, but the way that they do the heel thing, they know how to make the crowd love to hate them, like I was saying.
Yeah, exactly, man. I get what you're saying.
But we're about to get to our destination, so I think we're going to wrap it up here. This has been another episode of Back on the Road. If Cody's out there listening, or if Vince is out there listening, or if Paul Heyman's out there listening, or if Billy Corgan's out there listening, all right? We want to see good pro wrestling, and we want to see bad motherfucking heels All right, that's what we want to see. I don't know. I can't speak for anybody but myself. But when I watch real old school pro wrestling, that's what I always liked about pro wrestling was the heels. So please, let's bring it as hard as we can. Right now, if you ask me, as much as pro wrestling has come back in the last year, if things don't start shaping up, people might just stop giving it a chance. And I don't want to see pro wrestling become an endangered species. You know what I mean? There's too many fans out here. There's too many workers. And all that needs to happen is just people just need to perfect the art in the new age. Or just go back to the old school. Whatever it takes. All right? We're here to ride with you. All right? This is Rick Smooth with Alan Fenstermaker saying good night.